Well, hey everybody, welcome into a very special edition of For the Cheers, presented by Michelob Ultra, and I have a legend in sport in Kansas City to join me today, Jimmy Nielsen. Thanks for joining us, Jimmy. How are you?
All good here. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. First of all, of course, we want to send everyone well wishes. Obviously, it's a tough time for everyone with the coronavirus and everything that's happening. How are you and your family holding up right now, Jimmy?
Well, we're all good. Staying inside and listening to all the instructions that we're getting. The craziest thing we're doing is going to Whole Foods, get a little groceries and staying inside and looking after each other and the rest of the world. You know, it's crazy times right now. We got to be careful.
It really is. Well, good to hear you guys are doing well. And I think a lot of people during this time are looking for kind of stuff to watch, stuff to do. So what better than to chat with a legend like yourself? Why don't we go ahead and do a nice little cheers here.
Lovely. Cheers.
Cheers.
Skål.
Skål. What led you to playing for Kansas City, coming over to MLS and coming to Kansas City?
It's a long story. I'm going to make it short as possible.
We got some time.
Well, first of all, my professional career started with Millwall in England. 17, I signed there. Didn't work out. Was there for a short time. Went back to Denmark and played for my hometown team for 12 years. And then I actually moved to England again to join Leicester City. Was there just under a season. Went back to another team in Denmark called Vejle BK. And it was a little bit up and down. Coach got fired, another coach got fired, and got a little messy in the club. And I was looking for a new challenge. I've been playing in the same league for 13 years, against the same teams, seeing the same stadiums. I'm kind of a little bit sick and tired of the Danish soccer. And out of nowhere, the opportunity to come to Kansas City came out of nowhere. I have actually kind of suspended myself from practice because I wanted to move. And somehow Peter Vermees have heard that. And we know life is all about timing, being at the right place at the right time. He couldn't agree a contract with his goalkeeper, Kevin Hartman. And an agent that I've never met and still this day today never met called me and asked if I had any interest in Kansas City Wizards. And yeah, of course. Because a few weeks earlier, there was actually some interest from Toronto. But they had to get rid of Stephen Fry before they could make a move. But he ended up staying, so all right. So I had a little bit the idea of MLS in my head, but I'll be honest with you, when I heard about Kansas City, I had no idea. Where the hell is Kansas City? And speaking to the agent, and asked him how serious it was, and he said, well, the coach wants to call you after their practice, so it's pretty serious. And a few hours later, Peter Vermees called me, and I had a conversation with him for an hour on the phone. And it was just one of those conversations where you had a really, really good feeling. Well, in the end of the day, you don't find anyone better than Peter Vermees to explain about his club. You know, it was, I was buying into his project immediately and believed in what he was saying. And I think when we hang up the phone an hour later, he sent me an offer. And 10 minutes later, I accepted. And it's one of the fastest deals I made in my life. And it was so easy and smooth, and both parties wanted this here, and both Kansas City and myself took a little chance. You know, I had no idea what I was going into. No idea. I can remember when I was still waiting for my visa, I was speaking with Peter, and were asking a little bit more about the setup. I asked if they had full-time coaches, is it every player on full-time contracts. I had no idea what I was going into.
Wow.
But long story short, March 2nd, 3rd, 2010, I arrived to Kansas City. And best decision I ever made in my life.
What was the opening of Children's Mercy Park?
Well, the home opener were a little bit mixed feeling for me. I ended up getting my first and only red card in my entire life. That was a little bit weird. Got the red card after 70, 75 minutes. And you, of course, have to leave the stadium. I went in the locker room. The TV did not work. Then I tried to sneak out to the stadium again and watch. But I got kicked out again, so I sneaked down in the corner. And as I'm getting down in the corner of the stadium where the cauldron is, Omar Bravo got absolutely destroyed in the box. 100% PK. And the referee, actually, I remember the referee's name, Michael Kennedy, didn't call it. And no call. It was absolutely a joke, but tied 0-0. We got on the board again, and we got things turned around. That was a big boost for us to play at that stadium. That gave us a lot of positive energy, exactly what we needed at that point in the season, and we could not wait to get back at that stadium. We knew there was a lot of point waiting for us there.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So your first game in stadium history, obviously.
Hold on. Let's go.
Let's go. I've been sneaking drinks. Yeah, cheers to that. That's great. That's crazy to me. So obviously only red card for you, but you wind up watching a little bit of the game from the cauldron and maybe felt some of the rage of the cauldron.
Physically in the cauldron, I was there in the corner where you have what do you call that? The years you won the
wall. Yeah,
that's the wall. Yes,
right here,
exactly. Right there.
There you go.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I saw a cat stroll by in the background. You got some animals at home helping you stay busy?
Well,
Must have just disappeared.
Well, we do have a cat. We actually have 2 cats.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you like cats then.
I like cats. What are their names?
Kenzo and Delgado.
There you go. Making a special appearance here on For the Cheers.
We're going from 11 to 12 now.
Going from 11 to 12.
Cheers. Skull. Of course, the highlight of that season is the U.S. Open Cup. Us hosting the final against Seattle. And if I remember correctly, they have won the U.S. Open Cup the previous 3 years.
Correct.
So they're kind of an expert in those finals. And that also became a very memorable final. One of the most clear things in both finals in 12 and 13 is the weather.
Yeah.
Listen, did we have an hour or an hour and a half, a 2-hour delay on the game?
Yeah.
But the one thing that impressed me the most is during the delay, I went out and looked how bad is the weather, looked at the stadium, and it was pissing down. And I walked out a little bit further and looked down at the cauldron. No one had left.
Mm-mm.
Everyone had their shirts off, going crazy, and I'm like, wow, that's impressive. There's just those small things here and there that impress you, but that one, like, wow, we're gonna do it for them tonight. Of course, when we walked out to the warm-up, the double rainbow above the stadium. Everyone who was there will remember that. I have a little other story, and that's a little more individual story for myself.
Yeah.
And there's a few times, when I go to bed and that stage just before you fall asleep, that game will pop up in my head.
Wow.
But not physically the game, but the moment where Eddie Johnson is stepping back from the PK. That stadium at that point was so loud that the ground underneath you were shaking.
Wow.
And I'm waking up like, you get that little feeling there with feeling the bed is shaking. But, when I close my eyes there and every night I go to bed, I hope I'll get that little feeling again, but it's only coming here and there. But that was an incredible feeling. I mean, that stadium was so loud at that point that, listen, I played a lot of stadiums across the world, but that moment there is, for some reason, stuck with me.
I'm curious, what's kind of going through your mind during these penalty kick shootouts? Obviously, two very famous ones for Sporting.
Not a lot. Not a lot. I think it's very important to stay focused and concentrated. I have a plan going into a penalty shootout. I remember clearly against Seattle. My plan were going in, stay calm on the line, wait, don't do anything stupid, just stay calm on the line. And they scored on the first two PKs way too easy. Changed that plan to a plan B. I don't know if you know, but not a lot of people know that either, but I can get pretty crazy too. And then you switched on in our family we call Amsterdam Jimmy. Switched on that bottom and found the crazy thing out of me, and it got a little more trying to get a little more in the head of the shooter. So now we're in 13. Cheers.
Cheers.
Going into that final, where when you wake up in the morning, for me personally, and leading up to a game, I always check the weather, and you knew it would be cold.
Mm-hmm.
And as you have seen, or no, the dog is not there anymore. I have a dog, I got to get the dog out. And oh my God, that was cold when you got out. I'm like, Jesus, that's going to be cold today. Since I got back here, always starting the line with, I was there. And the next thing that comes up is the weather. It's not about we won the MLS Cup. It's like, oh my God, it was cold that night. 22,000 and 21,000 people out there that have some memories that we'll never forget from that night.
Yeah, it seems that people, when you talk to people that have been there, the number's more like 40 to 50,000, right? The people that'll say they're there.
Oh yeah. Listen, if you're a part of Kansas City, you're a part of that game too, even if you're not there.
100%.
You had it comfortable on the couch too.
It rattles the crossbar. Cheers to that.
Cheers. Skål.
Skål.
Damn, you're thirsty there.
Well, you're doing a lot of talking. I'm doing a lot of fun listening here. So, when the ball hits the crossbar, kind of take me through that final penalty.
Incredible feeling, excitement, but also the feeling that it was well deserved. I honestly believe that over that year, we're the best team in the league.
Standing up on the ladder or the lift to paint the wall, we talked about painting that wall. You had watched a little bit from that corner for the first game in the stadium's history, and then you're able to go up and paint it yourself. Do you remember that at all?
I do, but still remember that we gotta get this here done so we can get the hell out of here, because it was still cold. Uh,
Let's do this quick and take it inside.
it was, of course, a fantastic moment. It was a moment to share with a lot of passionate people. And I think it was a fantastic feeling for us as players, fantastic feeling for the whole organization. But we got to remember, you have supporters out there that have been extremely passionate about that team since day one back in 1996. So of course that can get a little emotional too for a lot of people. Um, but it was just an incredible night where everything went hand in hand, and a well-deserved trophy to the city that I truly believed maybe inspired the Royals and the Chiefs a little bit. Uh,
Open Cup and MLS Cup came first, right?
I'm not kidding. I am cheering for every single Kansas City team, and I want them to do well. And I honestly believe that that MLS Cup inspired those two organizations.
What, you binge watching anything with all this time indoors, or what are you doing to stay busy right now?
We have our exercise programs that we're going through, and we have a little guest here.
That, which one's that?
Delgado. And no, we're trying to get the best out of a difficult situation. And it's not even funny what I'm talking about now. And
Seriously, with it.
No.
Good time.
Yeah. It's tough, but I'm also 100% sure if you look after yourself and look after others, we'll get on the other side quickly.
Definitely. Well, thanks, Jimmy. One more skull for the cheers.
Thank you. Cheers, skull, and the cat to participate too.